everybody, and welcome to another episode of Lyrically Lydia. As you know, on this show, I aim to promote and highlight musicians who are making exemplary contributions in the world of independent music, and today's guest is no exception. Freddie Atlas, a Canadian Montreal-born singer, songwriter, pianist, and voiceover artist, is taking the international and New York music scene by storm. Please join me in welcoming my dear friend, the interview, and the work of Freddie Atlas.
I often dream of the right direction for all of us. It's a dream to fix the somewhat broken, yet ever-functioning wheel of society. The violence of the voiceless. When justice vogues, casting an illusion of fairness, while still only serving those who own. Lobbying is crushing. When legality is no longer synonymous with righteousness. Who created and who drives this wheel forward? And ultimately, stand with each other. Who will be willing to stop it? My name is Freddie Atlas. It's time.
Listen to your heart. Follow your dreams. Bring love. The power of humanity. Follow your dreams. Listen to your heart. Bring love. Power of humanity.
Welcome, Fred. Hi, Freddie.
Hola, hola, hola.
Freddie Atlas is in the house. This is a great day. Thank you so much for being on my show and for hanging out with me.
Thank you for bringing me here. Well, here.
I mean, quarantine here. I don't know. Lord.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's fine. We're not going to talk about it because we're trying to be happy and we're trying to be light and we're trying to keep it cute.
Yeah.
So, we just saw some.
Deflection from reality.
I know, right? We're trying to escape. This is escapism at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. So basically, we just saw a clip of, if you didn't know, now you know, the Disco Bank Robbers, which is a creation made totally by Freddie. And yeah, what is the Disco Bank Robbers? What's the concept? Let's do this. Tell me. We want to know.
Sure. The Disco Bank Robbers is a bunch of vigilantes doing illegal stuff, but for the righteous reasons. And so they're kind of the contemporary Robin Hoods. And so they have a list of 18 missions they have to do in order to fix the broken wheel of society. So it's very like Kill Bill, bang, 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 but with the sense of love.
So yeah, and I also saw that you're kind of really focused on social justice issues in that way. So like the basically from what I understood and from what I read on your website, which everybody should go check out, freddieatlas.com, right? Is that what, did I get it right?
Yep, freddieatlas.com. Yep.
Yeah, and everybody should go check it out because he also has highlighted the characters and everything like that, which is really great. You actually just got to see the characters in that video. By the way, it's a super gorgeous video. I don't even know how you possibly came up with, I mean, it's such a beautiful demonstration of everything in the video. First of all, is gorgeous, but not like that matters. You look gorgeous. but it's such a cool video, and it's really a great
Thank you.
introduction to what's to come. I heard a little birdie tell me that you're working on a comic book. So
Oh yeah. So the video was directed, cinematographed by Frankie Turiano, and he's someone who I sat down with, and I was like, "Here's my vision. I want people to, you know, look really good, but have like a really cool message too." So it's kind of this setup and this aesthetic where it's so serious that it becomes funny, you know.
yeah,
And so yeah, and Frankie is phenomenal. I was really kind of like scared. I rented like a location and I brought everyone, all the characters, and it was just let's go. And he did a great job, to be honest, because a concept like that can either work or like massively fail. So thank you, Frankie.
really, and
Yeah.
yes, he and you really hit the nail on the head. It came out beautifully. I want to know, at least for myself, I know it's really hard to get a big project like that started and get it going, and also kind of like to make a plan of how I'm going to execute, delegate tasks. What is your process? What did you do? How did you even go about planning something like this? Finding a location, everything.
Like for the video or like the song or the project?
For the project as a whole, like what was like
Okay.
for the, let's say, the 3 key points that everybody should know of how to like do a project like that, you know?
For me, it was super important to kind of build an aesthetic that I felt comfortable living in.
Mm,
First of all, like Freddie Atlas was for me kind of like what is the morally superior person that I could be, you know? So it's kind of like an image that I'm like, how can I, what's kind of like the perfect image of me without using perfect, but kind of the elevated version of like who I am
kind of like your Sasha
and
figure.
how, yeah. So yeah, yeah. So I started building the story, kind of like the outline of what they are, what they do. And I've always been super passionate about politics and philosophy. So I kind of bunched everything in a box and I was like, let's go, let's do this. And I'm a musician.
Yeah.
So let my music be the soundtrack of that story. So let's go. And then we brought in new characters, and it's kind of like the Sailor Moon or Power Rangers of kind of like 2020.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was
Just-
kind of like the vibe.
I think that's such an important conversation to have at this, like in this day and age as well. I think that a lot of the issues that our society faces are very much rooted in social justice and how we just create a world that is equal for all, but really equal, and really hold the mirror to society to show, hey, there's a problem with this and we need to fix it, you know? And it takes the people who have that love and have that compassion, just like the disco bank robbers, to really hold that mirror up and say, hey, nobody's perfect, but we got to do better for each other, right?
Yeah. Do better. You must do better. So the project is designed to kind of shed light on social issues, shed light with kind of awareness, but with love, but also this is not okay. You know, you can't do this, but this is why you're doing it, you know, and kind of let everyone feel that and grasp that emotional intelligence about kind of what is going on. Why is there racism? Racism stems from xenophobia. What is xenophobia? Xenophobia is the fear of the unknown. Why do they fear that it's unknown? They don't know themselves, you know? So it's kind of this conversation, I would say, that's very, how do you say, radical without, I mean, it's a fiction, so great, but it's kind of a radical way of presenting emotional intelligence, if that makes sense. So, yeah.
Great. That's very cool, and such an intelligent project to start and to execute it as well as you did. I think it takes a lot. So you should be very proud of yourself.
Thanks.
So, yeah, I want to know, as an artist, just, we're going to get personal if that's okay.
Let's go.
What are maybe your favorite, what are like your favorite things that you've ever done as an artist? I know that you have, as a voiceover artist, done a lot of work for the NHL, the NBA. Yes, he did, y'all. And, as yeah, and much more as a musician, you collaborated with so many people. You've done so much work on your own, like the Disco Bank Robbers, like so many other things. You've been on TV. What are some things you can tell us about yourself that you're most proud of, or that we should know?
One of my favorite, well, my pride for today, I would say, is the keeping together the project of the Disco Bank Robbers. So I've been designing this project for I think 5 years now, and so keeping all the pieces together and just making sure that, okay, because I kind of wrote down the entire mission list of 18 things they need to do. I'm happy that I stick to my guns because I feel it, like the intro video really set in kind of what it's about, and so it's kind of a great skipping stone to my other things. So yeah, that I'm proud of. I'm proud of just basically just sticking to art, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I am a very shy person and I dealt with anxiety a lot. I'm like, but yeah, and I found outlets that allowed me to still do art, but in the way that I felt comfortable. So I wanted to perform, I wanted to do all these things, but I had a lot of performance anxiety. So in the interim, what I did was a lot of voiceovers. So I specialize in commercials.
Okay.
And so that allowed me to still do lucrative activities in art, to be able to juggle anxiety and work on art and make, like a living out of it has been kind of my big how do you say
You're
like
the proudest part of the experience.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I think that's great and very commendable, to be honest, because it's one, it's very difficult to find your artistic voice. It's super difficult, and it's something that you have mastered, and two, it's very difficult to find ways to maneuver around certain aspects of, how basically to weigh how am I going to make money while still staying true to my artistic path. And you've also a really good way to balance that, I think, with voiceover, which is, I mean, a highly creative, and also it's all encompassing, really. It is just as musical as it is, acting and performance based. When you told me you were doing it, I was like, oh, that makes so much sense for some reason, just because I had known you for so long. But it's like something I would never think of. But when you started to do it, and when I heard his first commercial, I was floored, mouth on the floor, like, I don't know, my whole body warmed up in ways I didn't expect it to. His voice is like butter. It's gorgeous. So it was, very proud of you for that too. Yay! You live in New York, you're based in New York, well, until everything that's going on now. How have you found...
Quarantining in Montreal.
Quarantining in Montreal, yes!
Yeah, but based in New York,
Yeah, but you're based in New York. How have you found the music scene in New York? I'm sure a lot of people want to know, since it's a place that a lot of people want to move to and do move, where they do move every year, chasing artists.
So New York has a lot of studios, from cheap to very expensive. The community is very nice. There's a lot of, I would say, Lower East Side is very bubbling with like emerging artists. Williamsburg, I mean, Brooklyn, Queens, name it, like, and all types of music. Like
you name it.
You name it. I got beans, potatoes. I got hip hop. No. But I think if you're just daring and just like open, I would say, not necessarily daring, but open, there's a lot of opportunities that one can make, like so I kind of right now I'm doing a lot of like songwriting. So I'm part of like a writing camp. So it's...
For those who don't know, what's a writing camp?
It's a bunch of songwriters just gathering around an artist, and the artist just says, "I want to write a song about this, 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 and that," and we're like, "Okay, cool." And I go on the piano. I just, do a bunch of chords, or someone makes a beat. It's kind of a producer, songwriter, and then we just bounce off ideas. And then the singer is like, "Ah." And then, yeah.
And then, I wanted, this is something I really want to ask you because actually it's a thing I talk about all the time with a lot of different friends. I think we've also had this conversation. And actually, when we were in school, I think we really maintained that type of camaraderie between all of our musician friends. And even after school, just like making artistic connections in our professional lives. I know it's super important to keep a circle, just like a writer camp. It's important to keep a circle of musicians around you and really support each other, show up to each other's shows, be on each other's projects, just supporting each other as a whole. Encouraging each other. Would you say that spirit exists on the New York music scene?
Yes.
Okay.
I would say the power of friendship, the power of camaraderie is very important. And I think it exists in New York. I think that's pretty much in the spirit.
Maybe that means that it's a great place, even if you're new. Another thing, you are French Canadian, so of course you speak wonderful, beautiful English. I mean, you're great. But I know that when you first moved to the States, when you first moved to Boston, you told me that maybe it was a bit of a struggle, a learning curve at the beginning, just to, get into the accent, pick up more vocabulary. What would you say to the musician who would be moving from abroad to New York, and how forgiving is the city with people who do not speak English at a very proficient level yet, maybe more intermediate to, beginner level, to go there and really start to work? Are there spheres that they could traverse to find work, to find opportunities, even when their level is not so high right away with the language?
First of all, do not be afraid. New Yorkers love, different cultures. If you speak with an accent, it is totally okay. Everyone's used to it, when I first moved to Boston, I had the thick French English dictionary. So every time I had a thought, I was like, how can I say that in English? And I would just find, how to say it or find the words. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to use it until I don't need it anymore. And then at some point I didn't need it. And I had the thesaurus too. I was like, how can I find other words to say this or say that? So for a whole year, I was very much like,
those are tips. These are tips.
Yeah, that really, really helped me. But also what was important for me was to kind of dive into the American pool, So just to figure out really what is it about the culture? A lot of what are the cultural differences? How can I, understand? How can I, because a lot of the societal structure is different, so it does take an adaptation, but American people are lovely. So, just don't be afraid.
Canadians. Ooh. Yeah. Quebec. Ow.
Quebec.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's awesome. Okay, so these are tips. Anybody who is planning on moving to New York, you have heard it from Freddie, and I trust his opinion. And I also love New York, so I can also kind of say it's. So the last thing I want to get into, we are about to hear your piece, your beautiful song, "Something About You." Don't be nervous. Don't get nervous now. The video is gorgeous. The storyline is incredible. What can you tell us about it? Do your thing.
Sure. First, I'll talk about the visual aspect. So I always wanted to use the visual part of my music to social awareness, social justice. And so this theme is very much stemmed from gay bashing and where it stems from. So it's kind of the genesis, the origin of what is gay bashing, how does it happen? And most of the scenarios statistically show that people who do that kind of violence deal with that kind of violence inside. So people usually that do violence against gays, trans, usually have certain feelings of either attraction or I feel the same way, but I can't accept it.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the message of kind of shedding light on these issues. That violence is still not okay. But it was a way for the world to see, okay, we need more love. We need more acceptance. This is why we need love for the LGBT community. This is why we need pride. This is why we need to lay off of the hatred towards gay people, because people get afraid. It's hard to come out. It's hard to, just say I am different or I am this.
Sure.
Sorry, and to be in a society there is love pertaining to that, then that type of violence, I feel wouldn't be as prominent, if that makes sense. I think, gay bashing is a consequence of, having hatred, a society that doesn't necessarily accept LGBT individuals. So
yeah.
As time passes, we all grow old. Maybe this is why your touch got so cold. I look in your eyes and something has changed. Maybe my love got you changing lanes. I sleep in your arms and feel the fire. Yet somehow it's sad, 'cause I feel the power. The power, what you want me to be. Maybe your love burned my aching dreams. I care so much, yet I don't care. Your constant turnaround got me in pain. But there's something about you, something about you, something that I won't let go. Something about something that I won't let go. Here you go, you've changed your mind again. But somehow my love finds you even in pain. I can't let the colors of you leave my mind. It's the painting I have yet to find. I care so much, yet I don't care. Your constant turnaround got me in pain. But there's something about you, something about you, something that I won't let go. Something about, something about,
That was a beautiful song, Fred. It's so
Thank
wonderful.
you.
It's
Thanks.
wonderful. Really hear all the elements that we talked about before, which is super cool. And yeah, the 80s, that very 80s sound is super present. It's super powerful, super nostalgic, really beautiful. But I
Thanks.
also feel that, yeah, but I also feel it's really contemporary. So that's something I really enjoyed. And
Appreciate it. Thanks.
yeah, and I think you conveyed the message of, you know, gay bashing. I think you conveyed it beautifully. I think you told the story really well, and I also like how at the end you put the power back in the hands of the man who was beaten when he said, you know, when he says, "Go find yourself" at the end, right?
Yeah.
And, yeah, and you really put the power back in his hands, because even if you can physically assault someone to the point of near destruction, and it's absolutely horrible, and it's really it's intense to see. The truth remains that person is standing true to himself and standing true
And
in
sees the truth.
right?
Yeah, sees the truth
that-
in the situation. Yeah.
Exactly. And
Thank
that
you.
person in that position would go to, in this particular situation, this man is saying, hey, you have to do work on yourself. He really held the mirror to that guy's face and said, yeah, you beat me, but do you really think you're strong? You know?
Yeah.
And that was the
Thank you.
really beautiful part of that video. Yeah. That was really,
Thank you.
really beautiful.
Shout out to the actors, Sean Cortels and Devin Mojica. Thank you. Yeah, like they were awesome actors, because you know, it's like I think the cool thing is to associate yourself with a lot of artistic minds and let them be in their own space too, and not try to control everything. So shout out to friends, shout out to other independent artists. Frankie Toriano directed the music video. Brett Edward Stout wrote the script. They were all very supportive people, and this goes beyond the video too. Shout out to everyone who's just supportive of other artists. You know, we're sensitive about our shit.
Okay.
Okay. And sensitive. And it's a struggle, like very often. And so like people like me, you know, shout out to shy people too. People with anxiety. It's good to be surrounded by people who challenge you to be better, to do better, but also to bloom, you know, and to expose and to make yourself vulnerable for the world to see also your art. So thank you. And thank you.
Oh,
Come on now.
oh now. Come on now.
Come on now.
I'm just so grateful to have you here, have you talking to me, have you sharing with my channel. I know it's new, I know it's little, but it's, you know.
Congratulations. First of all, yeah, I think like that should have been order first.
Nah.
Congratulations on your show. Wendy Williams over. How you doing? She's like, welcome to Lyrically Lydia. How you doing?
Something about